Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and usually I answer some questions, but I don't think I have any answers right now. This week, Dragonflight officially released. It's out now. We're all playing it. Mostly, for the most part. It had a not so smooth launch day, which actually surprised me. I figured that they'd figured this one out by now, but there was the boat boss, there was the server disconnections, there was many reports of lag, and some realms were just flat out unplayable on the first 1 to 2 days. Now that we are a couple of days in, most of the fires, most of them, have been put out, and everyone that I know is in Dragonflight across the Dragon Isles making up for lost time. A few things, especially concerning professions, have been disabled while they work on some bug fixes. As of recording this, they will not let me research in alchemy, which, they gotta fix what they gotta fix, but I have discoveries to make. Bug fixes are coming out as fast as they can get them together, but by and large, the game is functioning now. In this video, I want to give my review and first impressions of a couple different elements of Dragonflight, and then round up what I've learned so far about the first things to do when you're level 70, because when I hit 70, it was a bit of a decision crisis. The leveling experience, I personally reached level 70 the morning after Dragonflight came out. It was about 20 hours after it launched, which is a record time for me. Helped greatly by the fact that leveling didn't take as long this time as it has in past expansions, but I think because I knew it was doable in one sitting, I felt extra motivated to get out there and really crush it out. But while I was leveling, I was pulled in so many different directions because you want to do the campaign, but you want to do the side quest, and you want to do the Dragonriding races, and you want to get the Dragonriding glyphs, and ooh, look, an herb. I've never felt so pulled in so many directions by an RPG in a long, long time. It was like the Skyrim effect of you're never finishing the campaign because there's just so many things to do. But you really should finish the campaign because that's how you're going to unlock a lot of endgame later. Speaking of Dragonriding, I am very pleased to give Dragonriding a personal 10 out of 10. I was so worried. All throughout beta, I was getting massive headaches and motion sickness that I was trying to figure out what to attribute it to. I never did. The biggest culprit was Dragonriding, but the game is out now. I am off and away. I'm zipping and zooping. I'm doing the races, and I'm good, which was a concern because otherwise this would be a very uncomfortable era of my content creation career. But no, Dragonriding is great, and now that I've gotten used to it, I will say that normal mounts feel like they're not trying. I got on a normal flying mount to fly to Uldaman to do it on Mythic Zero as part of my Mythic Zero World Tour. And I was on a B or something like that, and it was just going at one flat speed, moseying along at its leisure. It feels a little sad now that you've kind of soared through the skies in the Dragonriding system, which I guess is a testament to how well that one works. As for professions, I'm going to say very fun, but they frighten me because I haven't fully gotten to grips with it yet because there's a lot to come to grips with there. I decided to do alchemy and herbalism on my main, and I'm having a ton of fun picking herbs because there's so many different things that can happen, including dying to that one disease thing. And then alchemy has also been good, but I'm a little nervous of wasting my valuable stuff crafting things, at least until I understand it a little bit better. And I've been so overwhelmed by the expansion that I figure I'm going to just kind of poke at it a little bit here and there and leave most of it for later, especially because parts of alchemy are turned off for now anyway. I will say that profession specialization knowledge feels really scary to spend because there's no way to refund it. There's no way to move it around. And I think it's important that there's no way to refund it or move it around, or else the whole point of the specializations is so that you have to really invest, at least early, into being good at XYZ specific thing so that you have a avenue through which to distinguish yourself from your competitors in this big market, especially with the region-wide auction house, right? And if your competitor was not spec'd into the thing that you've worked on, but they could just kind of move their points in there, make 4 of them, and then move their points back, then you haven't made a specialization system, you've just made a bunch of extra work. So I agree with the need to have those points feel important, and it is true that you will eventually be able to get all of the things. It's not like you're locking yourself out of certain trees forever, but the decision of what to do first, it definitely feels big. And then for the end game, now that I'm at 70, my initial impression is, it's overwhelming just because there's so much to do and there is a distinct lack of time gating. In past expansions, Blizzard has kind of held your hand and walked you through, you can do this and then you can do this and then you can do this and here's what you're going to get from doing those things. And this time it's more like, here, welcome to the restaurant. There's 111 things in the menu, and if you want to find out what you'll get from each thing or exactly how to pursue it, there's clues hidden, inside the clock and underneath the tiles in the kitchen. It's great content and it'll keep me busy for a long time, but the task of parsing out what's important to me and how to pursue it, at least this week while I'm kind of just busy and excited about launch, has fried my tiny little brain. I am making progress, and it helps that there's not really any wrong answers, and I should make it clear, I don't have an ask here. I don't want time gating back. But I will say that after kind of floundering for the first week, if anyone wanted a list of things to do at level 70, my initial recommendation is finish the campaign if you have not done that already. Not the 1 of 9 chapters thing that I think we are actually time gated on, but finishing the leveling campaign if you manage to hit 70 before that, because that's going to unlock world quests and you might want those. Second would be to get the Dragonriding glyphs. If you did not do that yet, they are very easy to get. What I did was I got handy notes to mark their location on my map, and then I just took like an hour and I zooped around and I went and got them all to spend all of my Dragonriding glyphs. This is something I had kind of put off during leveling, although you certainly can do it while you're leveling, but it's not as hard to do as you think it's going to be. It makes a big difference in how easy it is for you to get around on your Dragonriding mount. And fun tip that I learned way too late, you do not need to go back to the Dragonriding trainer to spend your glyphs. You can open up your glyph interface from the big button on your minimap and just like spend your points there. So don't feel like you have to go back because you sure don't. Once you've done that, it's kind of a do you want gear or do you want stuff or do you want gold or do you want everything? Gear will help you get the rest of those things, so if you're looking to gear up, I would say run dungeons if you plan to gear up, especially working your way up to doing the full round of Mythic Zeros this week and next week before the raid opens. There are 8 dungeons that you can do. I believe they give 372 loot, I'll double check. But of all the things that I've done so far this week, that was the easiest way to get just raw item level. There are other sources of gear, but they're a little bit more involved, even if they don't require groups. Speaking of those sources of gear, you can do events such as the Siege of Dragonbane Keep, the 3 Centaur hunts, the Tuskarr Soup Pot thing, and the something the Accord quest that has you get 4,000 reputation. Those things can all give you gear. They're not guaranteed to, but they can. And the thing about that gear is it's going to kind of scale with your item level. So if you're going to do the Mythic Dungeon World Tour, do that first before you turn in that weekly and before you do your Soup Pot and your Siege and Dragonbane Keep, because you could get better gear if you go into it at a higher item level. There are also 389 pieces from open world content. There are necks you can get from the whole Obsidian Throne grind, and 389 rings that you can get from the Cobalt Assembly. Both of those things are more of a project. There's reputation involved, there's dailies, there's quite a bit of activity, but if you are min-maxing before raid, it's probably a good idea to go for it. I finished my dungeon tour and a couple of the events and decided that I'm tired. And if you're not min-maxing, the world is your oyster. There's a bajillion things to do. There's no wrong answers. You can get all of it eventually if you really want, so don't stress too much about what to do first, but find something that looks cool to you and go do that first. Do world quests and side quests for reputation. Go chase down that thing in your quest log that you forgot where you picked it up, but it's still there because you're afraid to drop it. Work on professions. Do some pet battles. Go fishing, There's a lot of options, but whatever sounds fun to you is the right answer. Also this week, the Feldrake Twitch drop came and went, but the Ichabod thing is still here. That is the new pet for the Support a Streamer program. He looks like this. You can kind of think of it as a shop pet, except instead of buying it from the Blizzard store, what you need to do is gift 2 Twitch subscriptions to an eligible streamer's channel while they are live streaming in the WoW category. Not while they're offline, they need to be live. And then you will get a redeemable code in your Twitch notifications. I have an FAQ with more details on that whole process linked down below. My own channel does count. I stream mornings 9 to noon-ish Pacific, and that is only available to get until end of day on December 12th. And then in my life this week, I have been playing Dragonflight, which I know is shocking. I committed to an Evoker main. I did it. I made a goofy little cheap trailer. I ran it on stream. I leveled my Evoker first. That is my only level 70. I am a Preservation Evoker for Dragonflight. I did it. People keep asking me if I've had any regret yet, and I just haven't had time because Evoker is so fun. I had a great time healing dungeons, and I'm very excited to see how it feels in raid, because that's one thing I did not test on beta. I did raid testing, but I did that on Priest. So Evoker raid will be cool to see. And as of recording, I am item level 361.8, even though nobody asked. I could probably be better if I decided to go after those 389 neck and ring from like the key grind or the cobalt assembly thing, but there's just so many flowers to pick, and I just, we can't do it. I can get gear anytime. Flowers are valuable now. And then, as I said at the beginning of the video, I am still sitting out questions for a bit, mostly because there's going to be a lot of great questions about Dragonflight specifics, and I'm going to have no answers. My goal right now is to get the raid guides out before the 13th, which will be exciting, and then go back to finishing up the dungeon guides, and then come up with a content plan for what other videos that I want to do. Definitely an add-on update video in there somewhere, because I am using fewer and somewhat different add-ons than I used to, so I have big plans, I just gotta do them now. So I'm gonna make some tea and get to it. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my stream if you want a stream, because I do that about 5 days a week. There's a new sweater themed Hazel's Home video, member video up for our $10 a month YouTube members. So if you are supporting on that tier, you haven't seen it yet, that's around. You're welcome, and I'm sorry. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.